Next topic is energy. As you already had learned about energy in class 9, that its ability to do work, it's the ability of a body to do work, that is called energy. Well, there are different type of energies in nature that exist, like heat energy, wave energy, mechanical energy, thermal, nuclear, chemical, electromagnetic, sonic, gravitational, kinetic, potential, ionization. These all are the different types of energy that exist in nature. But we will discuss here about the two energies in detail, that are the mechanical energy. Two mechanical energies. First is kinetic energy, and second one is potential energy. Now if I talk about the kinetic energy and the potential energy, kinetic energy is the energy possessed by a body when it is in motion, where potential energy is the energy possessed by a body due to its configuration, size and shape. That is called potential energy. Means that is mainly due to the configuration of a given body. So we have two types of mechanical energy. One is kinetic energy and other is potential energy. So kinetic energy is possessed by the virtue of the motion of a body, where the potential due to the position or the configuration of a body. So next is, after doing the different type of energy, we have gravitational potential. If we discuss about the gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy, first I am studying about the gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy. When a body is raised from, say, ground level to a certain height h above the ground, it requires some potential energy. That potential energy is called gravitational potential energy, and at this point this gravitational potential energy is nothing but that is mgh. That is equals to mgh. That is called gravitational potential energy. Next is elastic potential energy. Elastic potential energy. This topic is new to you all because you have never read about it previously. Now what is elastic potential energy? What's that? As we know, if we have a spring, say this is a spring, it's at a stable equilibrium or it's at its mean position. This is say mean position. At its mean position, its potential energy is 0. Suppose we applied external force on this spring and stretched it to the one extreme position, say this. Say we stretch it up to this distance x, and this is the extreme position. Now, whenever a spring is stretched, compressed, it always feel a restoring force. It's always feel a restoring force, and this restoring force always tends to pull back or push back the spring to its mean position. So this restoring force, it's actually obey Hooke's law. What's that Hooke's law? Hooke's law, it states that when a restoring force acts on a body, it's directly proportional to the displacement from the mean position with a negative sign. What negative sign depicts here? That this restoring force always acts in direction opposite to the displacement. Suppose if body is displaced in this direction, force will act in this direction. If body is displaced in this direction, force will act in this direction. So negative sign is here. So Hooke's law states that restoring force is always directly proportional to the amount of displacement from the mean position. More the displacement, more is the restoring force, less the displacement, less is the restoring force. So if we remove the proportionality sign, instead of the proportionality, if we replace it with the equality sign, we will get a constant over here, and that constant is called spring constant. That is equals to minus kx, where k is called spring constant. So this is the spring constant over here. So as we can say, F is depending upon the x, so it's a variable force over here, we can say, because different for different value of x we have different value of F. Because if displacement from the mean position is different, it means that force is also going to be different. So this is the variable force over here. So the work done is also by a variable force. So let's calculate the work done for it. So whatever the amount of work done in restoring the spring back to its mean position, that will get stored in the form of elastic potential energy. So elastic potential energy is nothing but elastic potential energy. It is nothing but it is amount of work done by restoring force. Amount of work done by restoring force. So here we have restoring force, that is equals to minus kx. Say let small amount of work done is equals to F dot dx. Say this is the spring, mean position, x is equals to 0. We extend the spring up to this point, extreme position. This is the mean. This is the extreme position. So to calculate total amount of work done, we just integrate both sides. As F and dx both are in opposite direction, if displacement is in this direction, force is in this direction. So angle between them is cos of 180, and cos of 180 is nothing but that is minus 1. So we get here W is equals to minus of F dx. Let's change its displacement from 0 to x, where F is nothing but that is minus kx. Substitute the value of the F over here. We will get W is equals to minus of minus kx dx, that is 0 to x. So what we will get here, this is x, this is k with a minus sign. Minus and minus will get changed into plus, so we'll get here W is equals to F dx, where integration is 0 to x. By substituting the value, as we already substituted the value, that is k x over here. So k is a constant, taking it outside of the integration, we will get here integration of x dx 0 to x. We will get x, where integration of x raised to power n dx, its formula is x raised to power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So by substituting the formula, we will get W is equals to half k x square with the limits from 0 to 2, 0 to x. So by substituting the limit, first of all we substitute in the place of x as such, then we'll substitute 0. So this complete term will become 0, so we'll get work done is equals to half kx square. So this amount of work done by the restoring force to restore the spring to its mean position gets stored in the form of elastic potential energy, and this energy is also called elastic potential energy. So elastic potential energy, let that be elastic potential energy, that is equals to E, and its value is equals to, that is equals to W, that its value is equals to half k x square, where k is a spring constant. So this is the elastic potential energy. Next one is work energy theorem. After doing the different types of energy, and we also have done gravitational potential energy, and after that is elastic potential energy, that is half k x square. Here instead of x they have written over here E, where x and E both represent the extension or displacement from the mean position. Next, we have to derive a relation between kinetic energy and momentum. The momentum I am considering over here, that is linear momentum, that is P. We have to derive a relationship between kinetic energy and linear momentum. As we know, the formula for kinetic energy is nothing but half mv square, where the formula for momentum, that is mv. You have two options: either substitute the value of m and v in this equation, or otherwise put the value of v from this in this equation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to multiply this equation on right hand side, multiply and divide it with v square, multiply and divide it with m, multiply it with m and divide it with m. We will get here kinetic energy is equals to half m square v square upon m. So we can also write it like this, 2m mv whole square, where mv is nothing but that is momentum. So kinetic energy is equals to p square by 2m. So this is one relation between the kinetic energy and momentum, or otherwise we can also find the value of p from here, that p is equals to p square 2m into kinetic energy, or we can also write it as p is equals to under root of 2m into kinetic energy. So this is also another relationship between the momentum and kinetic energy. Next we have to do is the work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. Now what's the meaning of work energy theorem over here? Work energy theorem states that work done by net force, means overall force, in displacing a body is equals to change in kinetic energy. So work energy theorem states that amount of work done, that is equals to change in kinetic energy. So its mathematical expression is work done is equals to change in kinetic energy. We can also write it as change in kinetic energy, means final energy minus initial energy. It means final energy minus initial energy. So we can write over here like this, K E final minus K E initial. So it's going to be work done is equals to initial energy is equals to final, let's half mv square, where v is the final velocity and u is the initial velocity, minus half m u square. So this is the mathematical expression of the kinetic work energy theorem. Now we are going to derive this equation by using the variable force. Derivation of work energy theorem using variable force. Now we have work done is equals to force into displacement, small amount of work done, that is equals to force into displacement, where let force and displacement both are in same direction, so F ds, cos of 0 between them, so it is F ds, where F is nothing but that is equals to mass into acceleration, where acceleration is dv by dt. dv by dt. Now substituting the value, we get work done is equals to, instead of force we can write m dv by dt, and into it we have ds, that is ds, dt into ds, where this ds by dt is nothing but ds by dt is its change in displacement upon time, that is velocity. So we can write here like m, instead of this both we can write v into dv. Now we have to, if we want to calculate the work done, so let's say initial velocity is changing from u finally to v, and work done is changing from 0 to w. So integrating this both side, we will get w is equals integration of dw 0 to w equals to integration from u to v. Here we have m v dv. So this side will become what? Simply w, because its limit is from w to 0. If we substitute w, then it's w minus 0 is w again, equals to, m is constant over here, inside we have v dv. By using the formula again of x raised to power n dx integration, so we will get here w is equals to m half v square with limits u and v, where half is a constant, taking it outside we get half m, inside we have v square with limit u and v. By substituting the limits, we will get w is equals to half m. First we will substitute the upper limit, then we will substitute the lower limit, we will get this. So by expanding this bracket, we get half m v square minus half m u square. This is nothing but this is the kinetic energy, and this is the potential energy. So therefore, by mistake. So this is the half mv square initial final kinetic energy, and this is half mu square initial kinetic energy. So we can see work done is nothing but that is change in kinetic energy. Where we have one more thing, change in kinetic energy is also equals to change in potential energy. So we can also write that for work energy theorem, work done is also equals to change in potential energy. This is also valid. So this was about work energy theorem. Now we have to do law of conservation of energy. What's that? Energy is conserved in a system. Means total mechanical energy of system remains same. If we see this graph, for the total mechanical energy is remaining same, but it's only the kinetic and potential energy which are increasing and decreasing respectively. If kinetic energy is increasing, then potential energy is decreasing. If potential energy is increasing, then kinetic energy is increasing. So we are going to describe this relation. Means this is law of conservation of energy. Let us consider a case of free fall of a body. Suppose this is a body, it's at height h and it's dropped from height h. It is dropped from height h. At this point its initial velocity is 0. So means at point A, if I consider it at point A, if velocity is 0 means kinetic energy is 0. Kinetic energy at A, that is equals to 0. But at this point as height is maximum, so potential energy is maximum, that is equals to mgh. So total energy, that is equals to what? Kinetic energy plus potential energy at point A. That is equals to nothing but mgh. So we observe at point A, total energy is mgh. Now let us consider another that body has reached a point B. Firstly it was at A, now it is at point B. Now let us consider at point B, it is at height x from the ground. It is height x from the ground. So from above it is at height of h minus x. So if we want to calculate velocity at this point, we know that initial velocity at this point was 0. Acceleration is acting, that is equals to g. So we can easily calculate velocity over here, as we know s is equals to h minus x. By using this equation, v square, this is the velocity at point B, u square plus 2as. So velocity at point B, initial velocity from here was 0, so 0 square, 2. Instead of a we can write g, and instead of s we can write this height is it's covering h minus x. So we get vb square, that is equals to 2g h minus x. So at point B we can see at point B, kinetic energy at point B, as velocity is not 0, so kinetic energy is there, that is half m vb square, which is equals to half m. Instead of vb square we can write 2g h minus x, that we calculated earlier. 2 get cancelled with 2, so we get kinetic energy at point B, that is equals to mg h minus x. mg h minus x. Now potential energy at point B, as the body is at height x from the ground, potential energy at point B, as we can see at point B, body is at height x from the ground, so the potential energy is mgx. Now total energy at point B is sum of this both. So at point B, total energy is equals to kinetic energy at point B plus potential energy at point B. So it was mg h minus x, and it was m plus this. Or if we expand it, we will get this. This both get cancelled. We get what? Again, total energy at B is equals to mgh, which similar as the value at point A. Now let's calculate when the body reaches the ground. Let it be point C. At this point, height becomes 0 and velocity becomes maximum. And to calculate the velocity at point C, that is equals to initial velocity was 0 plus 2g, but this time it has covered height h. So this is vc square. So potential energy at point C is 0, but kinetic energy, that is not 0, and that is equals to, means we can say at ground level kinetic energy is maximum, and that is equals to half mvc square, and this is equals to gh. So we get kinetic energy at point C is equals to half m into 2gh. 2 get cancelled with 2, it's mgh. So total energy at point C, that is again mgh. So what we observe at point A, at point B, at point C, total energy is remaining same. It's just only kinetic and potential which is increasing and decreasing, vice versa. If kinetic energy is increasing, potential energy is decreasing, and if potential energy is increasing, kinetic is decreasing. So what we observe, so if we plot a graph between these two, we observe for this type of movement that if I consider position over here and energy over here, when position was maximum, means at maximum height h, means when position was 0, means body was at ground. At ground, kinetic energy was maximum, but potential energy was 0. but total energy was equals to the maximum energy. So this was the total energy at that point. At height h, kinetic energy lowers to 0, but potential energy rises to maximum, making the total energy same, that is equals to mgh. So we observe kinetic energy is decreasing with the height, but potential energy was increasing with the height. So one was increasing, other was decreasing, but total energy was remaining the same, that was mg. So this is called law of conservation of energy. This is called law of conservation of energy.